All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about Viessa, and we're going to be comparing Viessa to Ultimate Viessa. We're going to go over her skill kits, her do's and her don'ts, and what makes her good and what makes her bad. So right here on the screen, I have regular Viessa, but selected, I have Ultimate Viessa. If we look at her stats that are Viessa versus Ultimate Viessa, her defense goes up minorly, her shield goes up minorly, and her HP goes up minorly. It's a lot of minor buffs to the character. But one of the things that make Viessa okay, like as a character overall, is her shield recovery out of combat and her potential for shield recovery in combat. Not on the same level as an Enzo, which he specializes in shield recovery, but Viessa has some semblance of doing that with her kit to put her back in the fight to mitigate that pop shot damage. Not enough to really invest heavily into as a shield based character. Her defense is just that, up under, a little bit under Freyna. I want to say Freyna has about 2, 8, 9, 10, about 200-ish more defense baseline when it comes to her ultimate form. But that's not to discount Viessa as a descendant when it comes to playability. Her survivability is very, very much in question when it comes to playing her, and most people like playing her as a glass cannon, but I particularly don't like doing that, and that's not the Viessa that I like to build. Now, when we look at Viessa's overall kit and we look at what weapons are good to go with Viessa, I think that the clear shiner here, outlier, whatever you want to call it, the clear winner in my book, and has always been in my book, is the clairvoyance. I like the clairvoyance, I like the look of the clairvoyance, I like the way that it goes with the character. I think aesthetically it was meant for Viessa, just like the new beam rifle is more geared towards Blair, Ultimate Blair. I really think that they want beam rifles to be a thing, and this is the way to go about it. Clairvoyance, again, in my opinion, has a gnawing issue where it has the applied calling, which acts as frostbite in most cases. I think that's his exact verbiage, but it's not frostbite, but it acts as frostbite. You can go with the Albion Cavalry. The Albion Cavalry is always good. It got its buff a while back to where it ricochets damage, it stuns enemies, it gives you increased movement speed. In my opinion, it was a Haley weapon. Like, Haley does really good with the Albion Cavalry as it negates her second ability. I want to say it's her second ability that makes her walk slower. The Albion Cavalry just pushes her forward. So Albion Cavalry, clairvoyance, good for her. Now, piercing light, I chose this one because it's a chill weapon for one, and most piercing lights, if you've been playing the game for a little bit, most piercing lights are leveled up. They are kitted out properly, and they used to do good damage before ATAMs. I don't know how they're going to counter the fact that ATAMs came out in other situations to make the other sniper rifles more appealing, but if you're going to be using a sniper rifle, then you're probably using Haley, you're probably using her 4, you're probably comparing, like, putting that with Perforator and is it like Spray and Pray, the weak point hit that makes her have like a little bit of infinite ammo when you shoot. But all in all, there's no real like descendant type weapon that's like specifically for Viessa. But if I'm using certain weapons with Viessa, more than likely I'm using the clairvoyance, and if things get too rough, I'm probably switching to the Albion Cavalry. And if the enemy is far enough away, I am going to be utilizing the piercing light. Now, when it comes to Transcendent modules, Ultimate variants usually have 2 Transcendent modules that just set them above their regular counterpart. In Viessa's overall kit, Absolute Zero is best in slot. right? No matter what anybody out there tells you, Absolute Zero, for the most part, is most people's best in slot. That is a hard contender with Cold-Bloodedness. And Cold-Bloodedness is not limited to Ultimate Viessa. Ultimate Viessa and regular Viessa share the Cold-Bloodedness, which gives you an extra 20% skill cooldown. It gives you an extra, let's look at it. It gives you an extra MP cost decrease by 20% and a skill power increase by 5%. Could these numbers be buffed up? Absolutely. I don't know why they're holding the reins back on Viessa for her Cold-Bloodedness. I think the cooldown at minimum should go down to 5 seconds. I think that'll be preferable. And I think that the MP cost there is fine. It's not anything crazy at 23 when you invest into it. The duration, I think, could be better. The duration of the Cold-Bloodedness, I think, would if it offset it by 5 seconds. If the duration was 5 seconds longer, it'd be great. If the skill power increase was 25%, it'd be even better. Or if it just sat at the 20 like the other things, it'd be a 20, 20, 20, 20, right? And that would be, again, fantastic. Or make everything 25%. But anyway, I'm getting on a rant about Cold-Bloodedness, but I feel like it should do a little bit more. But it's not bad. The Absolute Zero is for crit, and a lot of people like the Absolute Zero. People like the Absolute Zero because it changes all of her skills to singular, and it gives you the skill crit hit rate increase of 20%. It's very, very good. So having an Ultimate Viessa and not using Absolute Zero is kind of a crime. So Absolute Zero is going to be most people's go-to. Now, the Cold Cohesion is another Ultimate Viessa Transcendent slot type, and it increases the number of ice spheres to 5, and the base cooldown is reduced to 5 seconds. I don't see anybody using this. It's base cooldown with the whole setup that I got here. If I was to change it, it knocks it down to, I want to say, about 2 seconds if you put on the Cold Cohesion. And it doesn't change all her skills to singular. You get some tech in there, you get some fusion going on in there. And if it changed all her skills to fusion or tech, which would probably be tech, since this one changed to tech, change everything to tech, it would be easier to go into. And the ice spheres, you got to be like really up on an enemy. Like the range of them needs to be better. It needs to do more. It needs to keep the ice spheres out and increase their skill rapid fireness. It's not doing a lot for an ultimate character, and if it did do that, if it kept the ice spheres out permanently and then they like went away after 20 seconds of not being in combat, that would be fantastic as well. The maximum expendable range on them is 250%. I don't know anybody who's really like investing in this to do that mediocre damage, but it doesn't have enough here of the increase to make it good. So the Cold Snap Watch. The Cold Snap Watch is Viessa, Ultimate Viessa. Share that, and no one's using that. You use your 3, it swipes the ground, it leaves a cold zone in front of you, and it's not really worth the investment at all. So I don't know why anybody would even use the Cold Snap Watch. The Glacial Cloud, again, is another big failure by the developers, and again, if it changed all the skills to whatever this was, singular, no, change it to tech. If it changed it all to tech and then it did its thing, it'd be easy to go into. And then if it cascaded blizzards when you used it for this little underhand toss ice ball throw that you do, that would be great. Or if you threw it and it cascaded those blizzards in front of you in a line, so then you get this continuous glacial effect, then that would be great. Or I don't know, just spitballing here, if you threw it out and it killed an enemy, it started another small blizzard of an actual glacial cloud. Again, there's so many things that it could have done, but it don't do anything like that. So again, people would just go into Absolute Zero, make the cooldown almost minimal, go into Cold-Bloodedness and just use your regular glacial blizzard cloud to your leisure. So that's what we got going on with her ultimate Transcendent, or her Transcendent mods in general. So before everyone roasts me in the comment section of me finishing her Transcendent modules, I did forget about her Hypothermia. Hypothermia changes all her skills to singular. It gives her dot damage over time, continuous damage from the Ice Needle effect, which can be increased with her skill power modifier, and that gives a little bit more damage to her overall kit. It is not one of the best in the game. It's not one of the better ones in the game. It is always outshined by Absolute Zero and Cold-Bloodedness, but Hypothermia is what I like to use because I do like seeing the big ice needles on the enemy and doing that type of damage there. I do think the explosion radius could be a little bit better at base, so that when you focus into it, when you increase the range of it, that it does more. Increase the base radius up to about 5 meters at base to give it more of a big poof, like big ice clouds when it does explode. And I do think that the skill power for the ice needles is a bit underwhelming. I think that the base skill power for the ice needles should be at 1,000 or at 500, just so she can keep up with some of the better dot dealers in the game if you do want to go into Hypothermia with Viessa. Now when it comes to reactors equipping to Viessa, I do like to go with the Frozen Singularity Reactor. Her skills, for what I use, I do, like I said, I do end up using the Hypothermia, and Hypothermia changes her skills to singular, so all her skills become singular and all that jazz. And then when you go to Absolute Zero, all her skills are singular again. So Hypothermia, Absolute Zero, they're going to be favored towards most because they change all the skills to a singular type, so you only have to really focus on one singular thing instead of going into tech, dimension, fusion, whatever Viessa has going on for her. I do like the Frozen Singular Skill Reactor. Now, an increased range and a chill skill power booster would probably be god roll for most people here in this like situation, if you're trying to kit out of Viessa, because her range for her overall skills are about 3 to 4 meters shy of being good, like in a good spot. They're a bit focused instead of more AoE damage, and what we would like to see as a Viessa player, in my opinion, that we want to freeze over the battlefield and everything be frozen in ice. I want to see ice pillars, I want to see blizzards coming, I want to see the enemy frozen solid and shatter into a million pieces. The Polar Knight set is a set that I think was specifically created for the Viessa character type. This has nothing to do with firearm attack boosts. It has nothing to do with anything that really Haley has going on besides slight increase crit damage and slight increase skill crit damage, which I want to say if you went with a Slayer set, you'd be better off doing that instead of equipping a Polar Knight set for most characters in the game. But for the Viessa that I would like to build, I do go to the Polar Knight set. I do want to give the other external components a try, and I want to talk about why they're good and why they are bad and what can be used to be improved on them. And if I was inflicting an enemy with frostbite with the Polar Knight set, I think it should do everything that it's doing now, increase the numbers, put a 1 in front of all of them. That would be fantastic. In front of all the numbers, the chill skill power, right, 16.2%, make it 20%, firearm crit hit damage plus 20%, or whatever, 11.7%, all that, put a 1 in front of everything, and increase my skill radius and some stuff like that. Give me more bang for my buck when utilizing this set. Let me know why I'm committing to it. When it comes to the Arche tuning side for Viessa, most are going to have a Arche tuning tree looking similar to this one, because you want the skill cooldowns and you want the skill power. You want all that power into Viessa's skills, as her skills are very appealing to look at. They're very nice, they're very effective against the enemies. An enemy that can't move is an enemy that can't damage you. And again, we want to boost up our skill power as much as possible. Some of these things may be shaved down for the average person. Some people may take the MP recovery off. That's typical, right? Shave that down, put it back into skill power. And then some people would probably shave down the skill crit hit stuff because they think they have enough going on in their overall kit. So you'd shave all these down, you shave it all back, and then you'd go up the ladder here for max MP, hitting this node and possibly reaching over to touch this node. You know, some people would shave all this back and then go this route and fill up this whole area there. That's not a bad thing to do if you were to build out your Viessa in that way. And again, some people may shave back off these 2 points here for the HP. I did it because I wanted more HP, but again, there's flexibility here, but overall this without a doubt is mandatory. Getting here and getting this. She doesn't typically have a weapon issue problem. If you wanted a weapon based descendant, then you're picking the wrong character. You want a Haley, you want a Serena, you want a Jaybird. No, I'm just playing. Don't do Jaybird. That was a joke. Or you would, it hurts for me to say it, you'd probably want a Sharon if you're going to go more, I want to bang out this monster and knock him to the ground. This is going to be, I want to clear the field and I want to have fun. So Viessa is that type of character. Now, to wrap this video up, we're going to be talking about what Viessa used to do versus what she could do, what she can't do. And she can do a lot of things. She can do a full critical hit skill build. She's very good at doing that. She can do a skill power modifier build, which advances her tick damage for hypothermia, and she can go into other more I'm using my skill type of deal just to make the battlefield more annoying for the enemies to move about, right? Like max range, freezing them, slowing them down, causing the ice shackles, that to that extent, making them debuffs. You don't see any of those around. I don't think that's going to happen for a while, as long as the game continues to build. But the Viessa that we like to play is more crit based, more skill based. She's more skill and crit based, right? She's not really the type to do what I'm doing with hypothermia. That's not the go-to plan when playing with a Viessa. So if you're looking for a descendant that can do a lot of skill damage, hopefully she gets buffed in the future a little bit more than she is now, and that's how Viessa overall is going to play within the descendant role. There should be a Viessa Void Erosion Purge 25-26 on the channel of how I use Viessa to get through Void Erosion Purge 25 and 26 in order to get the Void Erosion Purge 27. And also there should be Ultimate Blair coming up, or the Ultimate Blair video is on the channel. Check that out, and like, share, and subscribe. Get in where you fit in, and I will see you in the next one.
Wanna feel a chill?